You know, it only takes a minute to register online at donatelifearkansas.org. Giving up just a little of your time can give someone else so much more of theirs. It's simple, it's easy, and because someone did choose to register, a mother is relieved that her daughter will receive the gift of life. So join Arkansas's new online donor registry. Save lives with the click of a button, online or on the go, at donatelifearkansas.org. That's donatelifearkansas.org.
I'm Victoria Rogney, and you are watching Fayetteville Public Access Television.
Two, three, four. Baby steps, that's what I take. Ever since my heart did break. I don't know why I feel this way, but a step in time seemed to be the only way. But I don't know the reason why. My face just met the ground. Well, I feel just like a child again, starting over with a brand new sheet of paper. When you're free, your heart can soar, but alas, it must come down. Temporary seems to be the blue plate special of the day, but I don't know the reason why. My face just met the ground. Well, I feel just like a child again, starting over with a brand new sheet of paper. Well, traveling, the seasons change. The load, it seems, begins to lift. Set your sights on life's delights. Clothe yourself in brand new threads. But I don't know the reason why. My face just met the ground. I feel just like a child again, starting over with a brand new sheet. Well, of paper.
This is our political song.
coming at me like parade balloons that soar. Only thing that holds them down is the man that holds the course. They dress up in their costumes on a scheduled weekly set. Leather skirts and button flies, they toss their dice and bet. I don't need your tinted apples, no, no. Don't tell me just how sweet. I got my own garden filled with fruit any man can eat. Raise that bird, take him cross town in army events, is gonna track him down. Stand there watching and heave a sigh. Turn your head and watch him fly. Raise that bird, take him cross town in army advance, is gonna track him down. Stand there watching, heave a sigh. Turn your head and watch him fly. I don't need your tinted apples, no. Don't tell me just how sweet. I got my own garden filled with fruit any man can eat. Where you think this story goes, the path you choose is free. But wisdom from the book or a fist that shook, is he a saint or is he where you think this story goes and the path you choose is free. Wisdom from a book or a fist that shook, is he a saint or is he I don't need your tinted apples, no, no. Don't tell me just how sweet. I got my own garden filled with fruit any man can eat. Fruit any man can eat. Two, three, four. Well, I left home as a young man, traveled down on 59, caught a ride on I-40 and I rode it on down the line. Slept on the beach at Malibu, traveled south to Mexico, ended up stuck in Seattle where the rainfall meets the snow. But I'm still a free man. Yes, I'm still a free man on the road to understand. Yeah. But the rambling spirit hit me and the road became my way. They set loose the ties that bind me and the rules that guide my day. So here I sit, open book, my lady by my side. Take a dip and have another sip, just enjoy the ride, yeah. Well, I'm still a free man. Yes, I'm still a free man on the road to understand. So I spent some time with Uncle Sam, thought I'd ride the waves. Culture shock, watching the clock seemed to make up most of my days. Caught a ride back home to Arkansas, settled in a college town. Education gave me questions and 2 words, upward bound. But I'm still a free man. Yes, I'm still a free man on the road to understand. Now I'm writing poetry at a ripe old age, it seems. Mother Earth has finally spoken, filling in the color of my dreams. So here I sit, an open book, my lady by my side. So take a tip and have another sip, just enjoy the ride. I'm still a free man. Thank you. Baby steps, that's what I take. Ever since my heart did break, I don't know why I feel this way, but a step in time seemed to be the only way. But I don't know the reason why. My face just met the ground. Well, I feel just like a child again, starting over with a brand new sheet.
I'm Victoria Rogney, and you are watching Fayetteville Public Access Television.
You know, it only takes a minute to register online at donatelifearkansas.org. Giving up just a little of your time can give someone else so much more of theirs. It's simple, it's easy, and because someone did choose to register, a mother is relieved that her daughter will receive the gift of life. So join Arkansas's new online donor registry. Save lives with the click of a button, online or on the go, at donatelifearkansas.org. That's donatelifearkansas.org.
Hi, I want to tell you about the time that my wife Tracy and I decided to put a vegetable garden in. We put about half our yard in as a vegetable garden in a couple years ago, and it was doing pretty well. We had all kinds of things I guess they call them vegetables. I don't know, because none of them ever reached fruition. Because our neighbor next door had this big thing, you spell it G-N-U, I guess it's pronounced new, but he called it a GNU. And this silly thing kept coming over and chewing on our vegetables, our cabbages, our cauliflowers, our peas on a regular basis, and they never grew. I mean, they never just. It was like vegetable abortions, because we were never able to find out what they tasted like on our plates, because this stupid animal from next door kept coming over and helping himself. So I kept going over, I kept knocking on the man's door. I said, "Listen, Mr. Green Jeans," I said, "you got to do something about this stupid animal of yours." I said, it's coming over and it's eating all of our vegetables." I said, "We can't have this." I said, "My wife and I are going to go hungry." I said, we're getting on in years." I said, "We're supposed to grow our own food." I said, "We read Utney magazine." I said, "We're supposed to just be one with nature." He said, I'm really sorry about this." He said, I'm trying to get back to nature myself. I'm raising all these GNUs." That's how he pronounced it, GNU. He said, and Harvey, my eldest canoe keeps getting out. He said, tell you what, if Harvey gets out again, just look him in the eyes and say, Harvey, go back home, and he'll do it. I said, all right. So Harvey the canoe came back to our garden. I looked him in the eyes and grabbed him by the collar. I said, Harvey, get out of here. And Harvey went home. But he was back the next day, just chomping down on my favorite cauliflower, the one that was like, it was like as big as a man's head. I was ready to make soup out of that one. And I said to him, I said, man, I said, Mr. Green Jeans, I'm tired of this creature coming over chowing on our vegetables. He said, all right. He said, listen, if it comes over again, he said, just throw some pebbles at it. I said, all right. So the next morning I saw this gnu chomping on vegetables, so I picked up some small pebbles because I don't want to throw rocks at this thing because it's one of God's creatures after all. So I picked up some small pebbles and tossed the pebbles at the gnu, and it scattered like a wild stallion, ran next door. Did that the next day, but looked at me like I was the biggest idiot on God's green earth. So I marched over and I started kicking on the man's door. I said, listen, I'm tired of this. I said, you're going to do something about this canoe or it's going to the glue factory. He said, all right. And he gave me this. He said, listen. He said, if Harvey comes over there again, he said, you need to give him a couple good whacks. Just paddle him on the butt. I said, all right, by God. I said, I'm ready for this because I'm tired of this creature eating our produce. So the next day I was ready and I walked outside and there was this big animal just chomping down our vegetables. And I walked over to him and I raised my big old stick and I looked at those big, gentle, stupid brown eyes and I couldn't do it. And I walked over to Mr. Green Jeans' house and I gave him back a stick and I said, listen, I said, paddle your own canoe.
I am a cook for others, shameless feeder of lovers, children, friends. I plead guilty to this destiny or daily task, this knowledge running from the succulent pores of a pork roast, lodged in the aftertaste of curry stew, rising in weekly dough of warm bread. I give food as sustenance, stake well my territory. Unnerving tempers I spoon advice to challenge hearts and minds. On cold mornings I sit with recipe books, the joy of cooking lived and died 5 lifetimes in my hands. There are full-color gourmet photographs. I preview heady scrapings from a bowl or pan. My energies rush to the fore when no one waits or wishes to be served. I am that woman, overfiller of mouths, that plate heaper, learning late to let my eaters serve themselves, come back for seconds on their own terms. My food is not for thought, but for the belly. Belt unbuckled, every diet plan on hold. I am the writer, teacher, political activist who dreams of high praise for my apple pie, a note in the New York Times book review for my oven-baked chicken enchiladas. Yes, something did happen in my childhood. No, I cannot remember what it was.
A few weeks ago, I watched one of Rod Serling's great episodes for The Twilight Zone, Death's Head Revisited, in which a former Nazi officer returns to Dachau, the site of so much human suffering and cruelty. In the episode, the officer is confronted by the long-dead ghosts of his past, who have returned to exact the justice that the officer has managed to thus far escape. As he is being driven mad, the words of his accuser echo in his mind. This is not hatred, this is retribution. This is not revenge, this is justice. But this is only the beginning, Captain, only the beginning. Your final judgment will come from God. Justice for those CIA officers who just followed orders and tortured on orders from higher-ups will have to come from God, because at the moment when it most counted, when the eyes of the world were truly upon us, our country blinked. For one shining moment we had the moral high ground in sight, and we cast our eyes downward and cast our horses away. Befehl is German for order is order, the mealy-mouthed whine of every man who has ever put another human being through so much agony that most of us cannot even imagine it. This may be the first time in history that a society has ever debated torture openly, that we've had pundits and politicians declaring their fondness for it. I'm a Christian and I approve of torture is not unheard of. Even Starlog, the science fiction magazine, had a not-so-funny cartoon about waterboarding Aquaman some time ago. I'm sorry, every time I see any of these people profess their enthusiasm for torture, I always see them in SS uniforms. Befehl ist Befehl. They had a choice, each and every one of them, and they chose to ignore whatever was left of their soul, screaming for attention in their back pocket, and set about their master's work, safe in the knowledge that they were merely following orders. It's not merely a time for reflection, but it is a time for accountability, and a time to own up to our national shame and even obsession with torture and behaving like characters in a movie. By shoving all this under the rug and welcoming the torturers back into the fold, we are telling them that it really is okay, and we are telling the next president that it's okay. We're telling the rest of the world that we don't give a damn about their quaint notions of justice or morality or even weeding out the bad apples, as long as we all get along, in this country, that is. At the end of the Twilight Zone episode, a doctor angrily asks why Dachau is allowed to remain standing. No one present seems to have an answer, but as the cars drive away, Rod Serling renders his final judgment. There is an answer to the doctor's question. All the Dachaus must remain standing. The Dachaus, the Belsons, the Buchenwalds, the Auschwitzes, all of them. They must remain standing because they are a monument to a moment in time when some men decided to return the earth to a graveyard. Into it they shoveled all their reason, their logic, their knowledge, and worst of all, their conscience. And the moment we forget this, the moment we cease to be haunted by its remembrance, then we become the grave diggers. Something to dwell on and to remember, not only in the Twilight Zone, but wherever men walk God's earth.
The song is on the next CD. It's called I Think You Think Too Hard. You were walking down that highway and my feet told me not to follow. Your heart in its patient agony, laughing at me as I swallowed everything you'd said from the time of my beginning. You had taken the open road and I'm up for the second inning. You're like a wave of fury, constant in your pain, challenging your new highways and calling me out in the rain. Don't you think I hear you calling? Or do you think that I'm not listening? I think you think too hard. Seems like a real life story every time you turn on, overanalyzing situations and places you just don't belong. Get yourself on some medication, take yourself a real good vacation. I think you think too hard. Don't you think I hear you calling? Or do you think that I'm not listening? I think you think too hard. I think you think I think too hard. I think you think too hard.
chromosomes together and gave me all of the recessive traits. I'm an embarrassment to evolution. My disposition is unstable and cruel. My blood's a catastrophic blend, 'cause I'm from the shallow end of the gene pool. Yeah, my IQ is a negative number. I got a sense of humor no one can stand. And my development was seriously encumbered by a deficient thyroid gland. I'm a social director's nightmare. At dinner parties, I just babble and drool. It's not easy making friends when you're from the shallow end of the gene pool. I'm from the shallow end of the gene pool. My x-rays make the doctors laugh. One time they tried to chart my EEG waves, but I wasn't even on the graph. Now biological research is booming. They're making breakthroughs like you wouldn't believe. They say genetic alterations in humans will one day soon be a reality. They're gonna give me a DNA transplant. They're gonna rearrange my molecules. Some natural laws will have to bend to get me from the shallow end of the gene pool. I'm from the shallow end of the gene pool. My x-rays make the doctors laugh. One time they tried to chart my EEG waves, but I wasn't even on the graph. My daddy was a man of letters. My mama was a head of state. They went and got their chromosomes together and gave me all of the recessive traits. I'm an embarrassment to evolution. My disposition is unstable and cruel. My blood's a catastrophic blend, 'cause I'm from the shallow end of the gene pool. From the shallow end of the gene pool. I'm from the shallow end of the gene pool.
Politics in general and jobs that don't pay enough, 40-hour work weeks, books full of boring stuff, schools that should teach but kids don't learn a thing. These are a few of my least favorite things. Healthcare that won't heal and how people treat the earth, paying tolls and taxes, disbelief in self-worth, bitter cold winters that cut into spring. These are a few of my least favorite things. Religions that claim they're true, don't get me started. Standards that double and people cold-hearted. Judgment and bias when freedom don't ring. These are a few of my least favorite things. All the lying, all the killing. When I'm depressed and sad, I add that to all of my least favorite things, and then I feel really bad. I feel like Julie Andrews or something.